What's up? We're back on our first video, week 2 of the playoffs in Dan Skolopski's race for the Sacco. With me today is Rick Vogler. Rick, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm so much better than last week.
I bet.
Last week I was coming off a 50s, somewhere in the 50s point performance, and it was looking real shitty, but never have I been so happy to not have to set my lineup, which is weird, but it's a good feeling.
Okay, well, let's just get into it. So, last week, there were 4 games. Game number 1, let's go to the championship bracket. Bullet versus Nick. Nick getting that dub. Against Bullet. Huge upset. Talking trash in the group chat afterwards. Love it.
What happened? Where's your playoff video? We were
that's
promised
why you
a playoff video.
That's why you lost.
And it didn't come, and you lost.
Yeah.
Nick putting up a hot, 120 something. He's looking good going into next week. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Hell yeah, we will.
So, bye, Bullet. You're not winning this year.
Playoff number 2 was Soham and Nate. Nate cruised pretty
Easy
comfortably.
win.
Soham's team.
Which was expected. No one expected Soham to do anything.
I mean, half of an owner.
So congrats, Nate,
Yep.
on the win.
Nate moves on to face Carter, and Nick moves on to face the number 1 seed in Ryan. Now to the Sacco playoffs. Game number 1, Rick v. Brendan. Congratulations, Rick, on the dub. Handled Brendan in that matchup, so Rick's season is over, fortunately for him. And Brendan will move on to face Jude this week, who we said last week would be the easiest Sacco opponent, so hopefully he can get a win there. And game number 4, me versus Bob. Such disrespect shown by Rick Vogler right now. Anyway.
Last game. Are you trying to avoid talking about your matchup with Bob or something?
No, I'm not. I got pooped on real hard. But see, our projections were we were projected to have the same amount of points. He went 30 over. I went 20 under. Doesn't equal very good results for me. So, I move on to play Josh. Coming off of 3 straight wins, scoring
and
over.
putting up a lot of points against no one.
Putting up over 100 points.
I guess we should talk about the playoff party. Great turnout, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Considering
it was fantastic.
Considering we voted on the date and everything.
And who voted for the 20th?
I remember seeing a vote from Josh, a vote from Bullet, a vote from Carter.
Good job,
guys.
Thanks.
Usually 3 pretty consistent participants in the fantasy party.
I'm not going to complain too much because there were more Jello footballs and helmets for me.
Fucking slurped those down.
But there was
no
6 foot of hoagie, and we ate half of it.
Yeah.
There was 4
full
hoagies left over.
So
of course.
It's Wednesday, but yeah.
But man, come on. I was this close to giving out some pretty serious next season sanctions to you guys.
AKA 1-year bans. But we decided to call it a warning, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Josh trying to play like he didn't know it was that day. Okay, Josh, no one believes you. So what we're pretty much gonna do is just talk about these 4 matchups. There's not much else to talk about, and then
8 teams remain.
And then do some housekeeping at the end and make it short and sweet on this Christmas Eve, 2015.
So what should we start with?
Let's start in the championship bracket.
As we usually do.
So, game number 1. We are looking at Nater versus Suckit. Nater Rosterbader versus Reggie in the Burning Bush. Now, the projected, Reggie in the Burning Bush is Nate is projected worse than me.
Worse than our Sacco.
Let's just take a minute here, Nate. You have some work to do on your lineup.
Yeah, I'd revisit it before the games get underway.
So what we pretty much me and Rick both went through and picked one key player that's going to be a key to either one of all 8 of the teams remaining, and hopefully they're getting the W. So I say we start with Nate. I will go first.
Okay.
My key player I picked for Nate is Deshaun Jackson.
Okay, I'll just say I picked the same thing.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Deshaun Jackson has been so hit or miss all season.
It's all in the matchup.
It is all in the matchup. Playing this
In Philadelphia.
beat up, just looking terrible Sixers. Not wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm not
No,
wrong.
you are wrong. They don't play football.
No, but I'm not wrong. They have a terrible team.
I'm sure
They're 1
Deshaun
and 30
Jackson
now. Deshaun Jackson has a good matchup against a terrible Eagles secondary, and if he's able to really like get behind these or even our rookies are hurt. Like what are we supposed to do? Hopefully Deshaun puts up huge numbers. You know why? Because I mean Kirk Cousins puts up huge numbers.
If you're gonna start him,
I'll start
we'll
it.
see.
Wouldn't be so sure though, Josh.
So
Maybe pull a last
I
second
guess
for Drew.
as of now, Nate's struggling at running back, and he's struggling at wide receiver too. So if he's gonna beat Carter, he needs people to way surpass their
Projected.
Like he just needs people to have really good games. And looking at that crew he has at running back and wide receiver, Jackson, like he's only projected for like 7, but he has potential to like 20.
Right.
So you're gonna need that, and that's why I picked him as a key player.
All right, so oh my God, I'm struggling so hard. Looking at Carter's team, the hefty favorite. First of all, coming in as the 2 seed. First of all,
yeah.
But now he's also projected by 30 points. So who do you have as his key player?
Well, Carter's a really well-rounded team, definitely. I'm picking Blake Bortles because of the matchup also. So Carter's kind of known for, I guess, not picking like a franchise quarterback. He likes to go with the lesser guys. Like that's been a trend over the past few years. And Bortles has been doing pretty well, and he's up against the Saints, like the go-to worst defense in the league. Just when you're setting your lineup. So if Carter can get huge numbers from Bortles, like, and the rest of his team does fine, like he should get a win. That's why I picked him.
I picked Blake Bortles.
Nice.
As the key player. And mainly because Rick last week said that he cannot see Blake Bortles.
I did say it more harsh than I meant to.
No, he said I cannot see Blake Bortles leading the team to a championship. And so I think if Carter does want to win the championship, it starts this week. And he's going to need Blake Bortles to look like a fantasy football winning quarterback. And I would know how important the quarterback position is. If you don't have a good quarterback, if your Blake Bortles puts up 6, it's not going to be easy. So you need Blake Bortles if he wants to lead to the championship. I think it starts with him at the top of the list for Carter's team.
Yeah.
I predict a win by Carter.
I will have to agree.
Even though you picked... No, I picked Nate.
Last week you picked Nate to beat Carter.
Right, I did.
I picked Carter.
Looking at Nate's lineup, I do not. Okay?
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, good. Next.
In our fantasy bracket challenge, I'm still winning.
Our fantasy. We're playing fantasy over here. All right. Matchup number 2. Phil Secretary, Nick Whalen against the number 1, almost record tying, Patty's Egg, Ryan Buster.
So let's talk about Nick first.
Let's do it.
Nick could be the fan favorite.
I like Nick.
People
like
are kind of rooting for Nick.
I like Nick.
Pull off a surprising
just because he
victory.
beat Bullet on Eric Ebron.
Everyone wanted him to beat Bullet.
Eric Ebron and Brandon Cooks just destroyed Bullet on Monday night, and it was just it really made my Christmas like really special. So, why don't you go first this time? Who do you have as Nick's key player?
Who did I have? Oh, I know who I picked. I picked the Vikings defense. So,
ooh,
yeah. Nick's team the past few weeks has been well, except for that Monday night, it's been like players playing consistently with Wilson going off.
Right.
So Wilson's like leading his team completely.
Pretty much, yeah.
As we know with the CBS scoring, defenses have the potential to put up a lot of points. Like easily they can get like high teens, and that's just if they have a good game. They're matched up against the Giants at home. Giants without Odell. If Nick could get a lot of points from the Vikings D, like 20, that would be really helpful. And especially if Wilson has a good game, I think he needs that to beat Bless. So that's why I picked them.
I picked Matt Forte as his key player because obviously Wilson is super hot coming into this game, coming off 2 huge performances. So if he can ride that in, that will obviously help a lot. But if he wants to win this game, he's going to need his running backs to contribute. And Denard Robinson just being a little bit injured.
Look at that projection, though.
Yeah, he's still projected more, but that's why I'm picking Forte.
I know. I'm saying, like, Robinson, he needs a good performance out of him, too, just in general. Like,
right.
Projected.
But all season, Forte has kind of been, like, there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been the starting running back in Chicago for, like, ever.
He's an old-ass man.
But now we have, like, even, like... Is Nate still starting Langford?
Nate does have Langford in his lineup.
Like, no.
He does get touches.
If Forte needs to have a big game, just because looking at the rest of his lineup, Cooks can have a big game, Ebron can have a big game, Moncrief, If you need like 4 or 5 players to at least overperform a little bit, you're gonna need one of your running backs, and I'm picking Forte as the one that I think he needs more.
And this is. I think I'm going to say the matchup of the week because, I mean, as we start to talk about Bless's lineup, Bless may be starting his weakest lineup in a while. And if Nick can get a good performance from all those players we talked about, he can put a lot of pressure on our number 1 seed. As of now, Ryan's only projected to win by about 2.5 points.
Right.
If you just go off projections. So there's no reason to think that Nick's out of it at all.
Right. Nick's a 47% underdog according to CBS. 47%.
That's the closest game.
1 rush yard will make him a 10% underdog or a 90% favorite. Like, but just to start there, after Blessington being so dominant the whole season, I think it's really big for Nick to only be that close to him before the game even starts. All right, so for Blessington, my key player, was Michael Floyd.
Okay.
Because, dude, if he can put up points, Nick is in trouble looking at the rest of his team. Cam, Gurley, Hillman, Jeffrey, Watkins, Gronk. Floyd is the weak spot on his team right now. And if he puts up 1 or 2, I mean, obviously you can have Gronk or Cam compensate for that. But if he puts up 1 or 2 and you have Cooks and Ebron putting up 11, 12, like, I don't know. So if Floyd has a big game, I think that'll pretty much be able to seal it for the most part.
Yeah.
But that's just who I think, if Ryan can get him going, it'll be okay.
That's really similar to you and Bob's matchup last week. So in Bob's lineup, Tavon Austin was like the obvious weak point, and he put up, 19? So that right there, like, that's exactly what you're saying. Like, if Michael Floyd puts up huge numbers, that's terrible for Nick.
Right.
I picked Sammy Watkins for kind of similar reasons. Not that he's a weak point in Ryan's lineup, but ever since, I mean, I don't know what week he traded with Bullet to get him. But Watkins has been really good and kind of like a low-key huge contributor to Ryan's, like, high point totals he's been putting up.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
I think he has that same potential. Ryan's going to need all his players to perform. He definitely can't rely on Cam this week. And I think Watkins is a huge part of that.
Right.
But, I don't know, Ryan might have a real tough matchup this week.
Prediction.
I'm going to pick Ryan, but, like, going to be close.
I'm gonna pick Ryan and hope I'm wrong.
I mean, yeah, like, you'd think that...
Looking throughout Ryan's whole season, you'd be kind of crazy. I know Nick's riding the hot hand, but looking at Ryan's team and his season, you'd be kind of crazy, like, not to say he would win 1 playoff game.
I mean, we're all rooting for Nick because he's, like, the new guy in the playoffs.
Right.
But, like, Ryan, everyone's so surprised he's doing so well. But now I guess people are rooting for you to lose, Bless. Also, we need a good upset. Fantasy's all about upsets. Anything can happen. So.
It really is. And me being upset.
But I'm still bitter because I was number 1 seed last year and lost in this round. Like, I got destroyed.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
So the first Sacco game, Jude Morgan, McNabb, .17ers. A weird name. And Brendan, whose team manager is Brendan.
As is tradition.
God damn it, Brendan. So Brendan is coming in the hot favorite, as we kind of mentioned last week.
But he did lose.
But he
didn't put up that low of a score, but he did lose.
Judas projected for more than Nate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're watching,
Brendan's
Nate,
projected 90. That's a fine projection. I think if Brendan puts up 90, he'll win easy.
Not easy, but he'd be definitely favored to win. 100, he's got it. So, do you want to start with Jude?
Yes, I start. My key player was Eddie Lacy.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much similar to Nate's dilemma, or Nick's dilemma. Where, obviously, if you have Brady at the helm, it's either he goes off or it's not his fault. And looking AJ Green he is hurt, but looking at the rest, like Torrey Smith, Travis Kelce, Micah Wallace,
Yeah.
So I think you're really gonna need someone like Lacy to put up. He's projected for 7 right now. You're gonna need him to put up 20. I would say. I'd say if Jude wants to win this game, he's gonna need a combined 30 points from his running backs at least. So I'm gonna look at Lacy because Matthews is not looking so hot as of late. But Lacy does have that chance.
I'm gonna change mine last second. I was gonna go either Mike Wallace or Torrey Smith just because they're the weak points and you'd need them to have good games. I'm going to change it to AJ Green because other than Brady, he's his only top player. And he's got a really tough matchup against Denver. And he's questionable right now, according to CBS. So, if Jude wants a chance, AJ Green has to play first off and then, not get shut out by Denver's top-rated defense. Plus his QB's AJ McCarron. Things just aren't looking good for AJ Green.
Right.
So Jude needs him to step up and do work.
There you have it. Now looking over to Brendan, the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Team projected, like we said, for 90. You first? Who is Brendan's key player?
Okay, I'm going with Matt Stafford. Brendan's had Stafford for a while now, more than just this year. This year, Stafford's had not a good year. So, the Lions are terrible. But, I don't know. He's been, a good fantasy quarterback. He definitely has potential fantasy-wise, and he's playing San Francisco. So, that's a good matchup. And basically, if Stafford does perform well, 30-something points, that should be enough for Brendan to have a win. Just Stafford having a really good game. So, that's why I picked him.
Looking at Brendan's team, really doesn't look all that bad. Stafford, Ivory, Miller, Demarius, John Brown, Vernon Davis, Ruben Randall. The key player that I went with was John Brown because he has just been so hot.
Except all his drop passes last week.
Yeah, but he also had that touchdown to make up for it. He's been who's he scored in it has to be at least 3 straight games. He's been on fire. And Green Bay hasn't been the best defense this year. I think that's a more favorable than not matchup. He's just been so good. If Stafford, like you said, is able to put up and John Brown's able to put up, I think the tandem of Ivory, Miller, Demarius Thomas, Vernon Davis is going to be able to carry him pretty easily.
Yeah, in this matchup, I would probably say Brendan has the advantage at every position except probably quarterback and tight end, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, Brendan's players just need to do what they do.
They just need to perform.
And if just one of them has a good game, that should be enough. Right. He just can't get bad games from all of them at the same time, which could easily happen. That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Brendan doesn't need as much bad. Brendan's team just has to perform, basically. A lot has to go wrong for him to lose, we're saying.
Prediction for me, I'm going to say...
This was supposed to be me losing to Jude, according to you.
According to me, that's supposed to be Rick losing to Jude. I'm going to go Brendan, but not by much.
I just think me looking at a lot. I mean, Brady has a tough matchup against the Jets. Like, a lot has to go well for Jude, and a lot has to go wrong for Brendan. So just given that, I have to pick Brendan.
Okay.
So now to the last matchup.
Yeah, the last matchup of the day.
Your matchup against Josh.
All right.
The kid who's all about the hypotheticals of what if he set his lineup all year.
No one's buying it. Yes, we have Geno Smith's jawline, run by Josh Ketterette against mine, your Nanners. Run against yours truly, Daniel Joseph Maximilian Skodlowski. I'm 6-9 though, so that's funny. Looking at Josh's team, it's pretty good. Now look how close this game is projected wise.
Yeah.
58-42.
Josh is just a slight favorite.
Right. I mean, looking at Josh's,
by about 8 points.
I think we have very similar lineups, as in we have players who look very good but don't always play very well, and those who don't always look great but do play well.
I think this will definitely be a tight matchup.
Right.
But,
ideally.
Whose turn is it to start?
Yours.
Okay, so for Josh's team, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers as key player. Pretty simple. Just picking the quarterback. But Rodgers is playing Arizona. Obviously, a really tough matchup for any offensive player. And the rest of his team's looking pretty good. Like, they should perform well. But Rodgers, Rodgers could easily put up, like, single digits. But if he could have a good game, that would be so huge for Josh. Like, if he scored like high over 25, like that would be so good.
Right.
And I would definitely, that should be good enough to give him a win. Like, if Rodgers does really well, because he's not expected to.
I picked David Johnson because at his last performance, if he can do that again, I'm done.
Yeah.
If he can put up what 40?
Did he actually hit
40? 40 plus? It had to be. He had like over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns or something. 40. 40. Exactly 40. If he can put up 40 again with Rodgers and Hill and all them, I am done for. So I think if...
Hill's playing Denver, and he's kind of hit or miss all year. So that's interesting.
Right.
Baldwin, I can't believe he's only projected for 9.
Right. He's had 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns the last 4 games.
A lot.
It's disgusting, and I mean he's playing the Rams defense, which but I really think that if David Johnson can at least maybe just get slowed down a little bit, it'll really be able to kind of hopefully help me out a little bit. Okay, so looking at my team, the key player I picked was just Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Because
I have had such awful quarterbacking all year. I cannot remember the last time my quarterback had, like, a good game. Well, Cousins did last week on my bench. Like, my starting quarterback had a good game. Like, I'm talking, like, 25 or more. I don't think it's been since, like, week 6 or 7 that he put up 25 or more. And, obviously, I haven't won very much recently. So, I think if Cousins... And the matchup against the Eagles' defense, we talked about it with Jackson... He has the opportunity to just tear them apart. So, I mean, obviously I need a big game out of him on Saturday. And if I come away on Saturday with, like, even like 11, 12 points, my 42% underdog is going to look like 30 or 25. Mm-hmm. So, that's why I'm just picking him.
Yeah, you'll be hoping for like a 41-38 Eagles win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think this is going to be a really close matchup. Like, given these two teams go, and I wanted to pick someone who could be a real difference maker, so I picked Julius Thomas against the Saints.
I was gonna say you probably picked Thomas.
That's an interesting matchup, and Thomas has been hot. Easily could score like 2 touchdowns, which would be huge.
Right.
So that's why I picked him. Not much more other to say than that. I think he could be big for you.
Predictions, your turn. Go first.
It's hard to call. You've been calling yourself the Sacco, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to pull it off. You should talk Bills' defense against Dallas you got, which is good. This matchup's hard to call. I mean, we know anything can happen.
So who are you predicting to win? Say it.
Do you know your prediction? Because I feel like I'm still thinking. You can say it.
Josh is going to win. because, like I said last week, I'm the Sacco. I'm
I know you're just.
I'm destined to be the Sacco, and nothing, no matter how many correct or incorrect lineup choices I make, I'm going to be the Sacco. It's just imminent. So I'm just kind of just waiting here and dying slowly. Rick?
I'm picking you. I'm doing it.
Oh.
Yeah, upset. I think you got enough. I think Cousins will put up like
the
30.
upset facing the 11 seed.
The 12 seed.
The 12 seed.
Josh would have been Sacco. He's lucky we're doing Sacco playoffs.
It's true.
Kid's so lucky.
It's true.
Okay.
All right.
He could still lose though.
So then that would mean our predictions are in the winners bracket.
I'm picking just 2 higher seeds and 2 lower seeds. That's how it worked out. But like for 2 highest seeds, 2 best teams going to the championship, like seeding wise,
and the
2 lowest
lowest
going to the. That's just the way I. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, we picked. Yeah, we both picked Carter and Ryan, didn't we?
But the Nick Bless matchup could be interesting.
Right. I think that's the matchup to watch.
Really, it looks like there's in each bracket there's one matchup where there's a clear favorite, like favorite, not winner, like because anything could happen. But
see, this is what I was saying earlier at the party,
but also one matchup in each where it's so close.
Everyone laughed at me, like, you know, Nick loses or Ryan loses, like he's done. He cannot be the champion. If I lose, I'm still not the Sacco. I still get to play for that, but you can't play for the championship once you lose. So that's why I think the matchup against Ryan and Nick. Ryan loses, he's done. That's it. After having a almost record-tying season, it's just gone. Didn't even win a game in the playoffs.
It'll be forgotten in league history.
It will.
No one will remember.
League history will remember.
No 30 for 30 is about you, Bless. They'd be about Nick and his miraculous run to the championship.
What if I told you?
We'll get Nate to narrate the beginning because that was perfect.
That was pretty good. His camera work was a little weird, but
it's all right.
It's okay. It's better than what Bullet had. That big fat loss. Housekeeping.
Not much, right?
I'm gonna put the link to the submit your keepers again, and I'm dead serious. If you guys don't get them in time, I'm not keeping your players for you.
It's a while. It's like over a month away.
It's
prepare.
Midnight the day after the Super Bowl. So like you can type them in now or you can type them in later. But if you forget, I'm not.
I would just type something in now, or at least like one player that you know you're gonna keep, so you don't forget.
Yeah, at least type in like the one player you know right now, just in case like 2 months from now you're like, oh shit. Well, at least I have this player. Because I know.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, I will remind you probably like 3 more times before the deadline, but it's better to just do it now and get it over with. Well, no, we already did the fantasy party. Week 17, I'm trying to think.
Bullet answered no comment in the group me.
Should have had a video, Bullet.
Whatever, Bullet.
So we are coming in at a cool...
Oh, we said under a half
just
hour.
Under a half hour, so we have 2 minutes to wrap it up. 2-minute drill, Berman.
What were we talking about?
I would like to say, as your commissioner, it has been a monumental season for the league. Just so many things have happened. Considering we drafted, it was just set to be our normal run-of-the-mill season. Yeah. Just everything the same as always. And then it turned just like, not even just like you and commissioner, it turned into so much more between like the trophies and the Sacco playoffs and the keepers. Like, so much has changed this year. And it's an honor to be your commissioner, to be a part of it. I'm such a good commissioner. I cannot believe Josh wanted me out as commissioner, or anyone. I'm unbelievably good at being commissioner. Rick, that's. I had a minute. You have a minute. It's like PTI.
I feel like I should put out now the dates for next year's fantasy party, so everyone can plan ahead.
Put it in your phone.
I'm kidding. It's whatever. I'm not mad. There's just more basement soccer playing time for us. So, you missed out.
That's true. Well, it's shaping up to be an exciting week 16. I wish everyone luck who is still playing, but not Andrew Luck.